Every fast food chain in America has made a commercial that slaps. You remember it. You can sing the jingle in the shower. You probably have. But what you do not remember, because these companies have spent millions trying to bury the evidence, are the commercials that tanked so hard they should have come with a government warning label. The ones that cost $40 million and moved 0 burgers. The ones where somebody in a boardroom said, "Yeah, this is the one," and then the entire country said, "Absolutely not." One of them started actual riots at KFC. One of them gave small children nightmares about deformed singing rats. One of them accidentally caused a hostage situation, and I wish I was making that up. And number 1 tried to fix police brutality with a Pepsi and a supermodel. It lasted less than 24 hours before the entire internet set it on fire. 10 fast food commercials that were total disasters. Let's get into it. Number 10. Burger King Herb. In 1986, the Herb campaign, and the $40 million decision to build an entire national advertising campaign around a fictional dude named Herb, whose only personality trait was that he had never eaten a Whopper. That was it. That was the whole thing. In the mid-1980s, fast food advertising was absolutely cooking. Wendy's had just dropped Where's the Beef, and the entire country lost its mind. An 80-year-old woman yelling at a hamburger bun became more famous than most senators. 3 words, one old lady. More cultural impact than a Super Bowl halftime show. McDonald's had Ronald McDonald scaring children into buying Happy Meals. Wendy's had Clara Peller and her beef-related outrage. Burger King looked at all of this and thought, we need a guy. They created Herb. Herb was described as the only man in America who had never eaten a Burger King burger. Not a superhero, not a comedian, not even a guy with a cool hat. Just some dude who had somehow avoided Burger King for his entire life. That was the marketing hook. A man defined entirely by what he had not done. Burger King dropped $40 million on Herb. In 1986 money, adjusted for inflation, that is roughly the GDP of a small island nation. The campaign included TV spots, in-store promos, and a contest where if you spotted Herb in your local Burger King, you could win $5 grand. Small problem. Nobody knew what Herb looked like because the commercials kept him hidden to build mystery. So customers were supposed to identify a stranger in a fast food restaurant based on the fact that he looked like someone who had never eaten a Whopper. What does that even look like? Skinny? Confused? Standing near the salad bar with regret in his eyes? The campaign crashed and burned in about 6 months. 0 bump in sales, 0 cultural impact, $40 million turned into a punchline that Burger King spent the next 20 years pretending never happened. Herb was never seen again. Somewhere out there, Herb is still not eating a Whopper, and nobody cares. The only thing Herb successfully sold was the idea that $40 million can disappear faster than a French fry at a kid's birthday party. Burger King's next campaign was significantly better. It could not have been worse. Subscribe, because number 1 tried to solve systemic racism with a can of soda and a reality TV star. That is where this list ends. Alright, moving on. Number 9. Domino's The Noid. Domino's Pizza, 1989. The Noid. And the adorable little cartoon mascot that accidentally inspired a real-life hostage situation. Because apparently naming your villain after a real word that real people have as a last name was not something the legal department flagged. The Noid was a small claymation gremlin in a red rabbit suit whose job in the Domino's cinematic universe was to ruin pizza deliveries. Avoid the Noid. Simple. Catchy. The campaign was a hit. Kids loved the Noid. Domino's was riding high. Then in January 1989, a man named Kenneth Lamar Noid walked into a Domino's in Atlanta with a gun. His last name was Noid. N-O-I-D. He was convinced the entire campaign was personally targeting him. He held 2 employees hostage for 5 hours, demanded $100 grand, demanded a specific novel, and, because this story was not already bizarre enough, made the hostages cook him a pizza. A man took Domino's employees hostage, and his ransom demand included a Domino's pizza. You cannot write this stuff. Actually, someone could write this stuff, but no studio would greenlight it because the premise is too insane. The hostages escaped. Kenneth Noyd was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Domino's quietly retired the mascot, and everyone in the marketing department presumably updated their resumes. Somewhere in an ad agency, a creative director had to sit in a meeting and explain that their cartoon pizza villain had inspired a hostage crisis. That is a PowerPoint presentation nobody wants to give. Slide 7, the armed standoff. Slide 8, next steps for Q3. The Noid eventually came back years later in a carefully managed revival, but the original run ended with a police report. That is not how mascot stories are supposed to end. Number 8, KFC Oprah coupon. KFC, 2009, the Oprah free chicken disaster, and the promotion that proved, with mathematical precision, that giving away free food on national television to 330 million Americans will not go the way you planned. Oprah Winfrey went on her show and told America that anyone could download a coupon for a free 2-piece Kentucky Grilled Chicken meal at any KFC. The marketing team at KFC presumably expected a reasonable number of downloads. A few 100,000 maybe. A nice little bump. 4 million people downloaded 10.5 million coupons. Let me say that again because the number deserves respect. 10.5 million free chicken coupons floating around America like currency in a country that just discovered chicken exists. KFC locations were absolutely bodied within hours. Lines around buildings. Drive-thrus backed up into actual roads. Customers waiting 45 minutes for free chicken like it was the last helicopter out of Saigon. And then the beautiful part. KFC ran out of chicken. KFC, the restaurant whose entire name is an abbreviation of the word chicken. The place that has a picture of a man holding chicken as its logo. Let that sink in. The restaurant with a chicken bucket on the roof ran out of the thing in the bucket. That is like Starbucks running out of coffee. That is like Home Depot running out of wood. It should not be physically possible, and yet it happened across multiple states simultaneously. When locations started refusing the coupons, customers did not take it well. There were confrontations. There were arguments loud enough to hear from the parking lot. Multiple locations called the cops. The phrase, KFC coupon riot, appeared in actual news coverage. Riot. Over free chicken. In 2009. In America. Honestly, that tracks. KFC spent $42 million on a promotion for a grilled chicken product that was discontinued 3 years later. $42 million. Gone. Poof. Vanished like the chicken itself. Oprah moved on to other things. She usually does. KFC was left holding $42 million in receipts for chicken it gave away for free and a grilled product that customers tried once because it was free and then never ordered again because they wanted the original recipe, which is the product KFC was already selling. For money. Before, someone said, hey, what if we gave a different chicken away for free? To everyone. Through Oprah? Number 7. McDonald's McPizza. McDonald's, 1989, McPizza. And the moment McDonald's looked at Pizza Hut, Domino's, Little Caesars, and Papa John's and said, hold my McNuggets, we are entering the pizza game. McDonald's launched McPizza with the energy of a company that genuinely believed it could do anything. Burgers? Crushed it. Breakfast? Invented it. Pizza takes time, real time, not McDonald's time. A Big Mac takes 90 seconds. A McPizza took 11 minutes. 11 minutes in a McDonald's drive-thru might as well be 11 years. The person behind you has already called their lawyer. Their children have graduated high school. The ice in their Coke has melted, refrozen, and melted again. The guy who ordered the McPizza is sitting there sweating, knowing he has made a mistake, but unable to admit it because he has already waited 6 minutes, and at this point, he is emotionally committed. Pizza Hut saw McPizza and did the most savage thing in fast food history. They ran a commercial specifically mocking McDonald's pizza. A taste test, side by side. Pizza Hut destroyed them on camera and then aired it nationally. Pizza Hut ran an attack ad against McDonald's over pizza in the late 1980s. That is cold-blooded even by fast food standards. McDonald's pulled McPizza from most locations by the mid-90s. One franchise kept selling it until 2017 and became a minor tourist attraction for people whose bucket list included ordering pizza from a clown. 28 years of a product the company stopped caring about after 3. McPizza is now a fun fact at trivia nights and absolutely nothing else. Number 6. Rax Mr. Delicious. Rax, 1987, Mr. Delicious. And the commercial that literally, not figuratively, literally killed a fast food chain. Marketing textbooks teach this one. Business schools study this one. If Rax were a patient, Mr. Delicious was the guy who pulled the plug. Rax was a roast beef chain similar to Arby's with over 500 locations, not a small operation. The chain was struggling with identity. Was it fast food? A buffet? Fine dining? Nobody knew, including Rax. The menu had roast beef, a salad bar, baked potatoes, and at one point, seafood. Seafood at a roast beef restaurant. That is like putting a swimming pool in a library. You can do it. Nobody asked you to. Rax was trying to be everything at once. Arby's and Red Lobster and Golden Corral in a single building. And the result was a restaurant that was mediocre at all 3. Number 5. Quiznos Spung Monkeys. Quiznos, 2004. The Sponge Monkeys. And the advertising decision that haunts the dreams of every child who was watching television in 2004 and suddenly saw 2 deformed rat-like creatures with bulging eyes screaming about sandwiches. The Sponge Monkeys looked like what would happen if a hamster melted in a microwave and then learned to sing. They had massive eyes, open mouths, tiny weird bodies, and they sang, if you can call it singing, in an off-key warbling voice about how much they loved Quiznos subs. The visual was deeply disturbing. The audio was worse. The combination was the kind of thing you show someone when you want them to stop eating for the rest of the day. These commercials aired during prime time, without warning. No advisory, no parental guidance suggested, just boom. Rat creatures screaming about toasted subs while your 7-year-old is eating goldfish crackers on the couch. Parents reported kids crying. Adults reported losing their appetites. An advertising campaign designed to make people want sandwiches was actively making people want to lie down in a dark room and question reality. One Reddit user said the Sponge Monkeys gave them nightmares as a child. Another said it was the specific reason they never went to Quiznos. Your mascot is supposed to make people hungry. The Sponge Monkeys made people want to lie down in a dark room and question reality. Quiznos pulled the campaign. The chain later filed for bankruptcy in 2014. The Sponge Monkeys did not kill Quiznos. Franchise costs and Subway competition did that. But the Sponge Monkeys made sure nobody felt sorry about it. They remain the most unsettling thing ever broadcast during a sandwich commercial. 20 years later, if you Google them, the first suggestion is Quiznos Sponge Monkeys Nightmare. When your mascot's top Google result includes the word nightmare, you have made a specific kind of advertising history that nobody wants. Number 4. Carl's Jr. Bikini Burgers. Carl's Jr., 2005 to 2017, the Bikini Burger era. And the 12-year corporate commitment to the idea that the best way to sell a hamburger is to show a woman in a swimsuit eating it in slow motion while making eye contact with the camera. Paris Hilton washed a car in a bikini while eating a burger. Kim Kardashian ate salad in a bathtub. Charlotte McKinney walked through a farmer's market wearing approximately nothing. The pattern was consistent for 12 straight years. Famous woman, large burger, small clothing. That was the creative brief, every time, for over a decade. Carl's Jr. CEO Andy Puzder personally defended the strategy. His exact quote was, "I like beautiful women eating burgers in bikinis. I think it's very American." Sir, apple pie is American. The national anthem is American. Baseball is American. Fireworks on the 4th of July are American. A woman in a swimsuit eating a Western bacon cheeseburger on the hood of a Mustang is something else entirely. In 2015, research firm Ameritest found that 51% of people found the ads irritating and annoying, more than half. Carl's Jr. said the data did not match their sales numbers. The researchers said the sales bump was probably from the dollar coupon, not the bikini. That is the advertising equivalent of thinking people came to your party for you when they actually came for the free food. Carl's Jr. finally killed the campaign in 2017 with a self-aware commercial basically saying, "Yeah, we know what we were doing. We're done now." 12 years, hundreds of bikini shots, one CEO who thought it was very American, and eventually, even Carl's Jr. looked in the mirror and said, "Maybe we should try selling the actual burger." Number 3. Taco Bell Chihuahua. Taco Bell, 1997. The Chihuahua. Yo quiero Taco Bell. And the mascot that became so famous it overshadowed the food got the company sued for $42 million and did not actually sell any tacos. The Taco Bell Chihuahua was everywhere in the late 90s. Stuffed animal versions at every gas station. The phrase Yo quiero Taco Bell in every school hallway. The dog was arguably more famous than any menu item Taco Bell had ever created, which was exactly the problem. Mexican-American advocacy groups called it out immediately. A Chihuahua speaking broken Spanish to sell Mexican food was, at best, a lazy stereotype, and at worst, genuinely offensive. Taco Bell initially pushed back. The public conversation continued. The campaign became less fun and more uncomfortable every month it ran. Then the lawsuit arrived. 2 guys claimed they had pitched the talking Chihuahua concept to Taco Bell and had never been paid. A jury agreed. $42 million in damages. Taco Bell appealed. The legal fight dragged on for years. And the kicker, and this is the part that should be taught in every business school in America, the Chihuahua was not moving tacos. The dog was famous, the merchandise was selling, but actual Taco Bell sales did not increase. You could buy a stuffed Chihuahua at every truck stop from Maine to California. You were not necessarily buying a chalupa afterward. Taco Bell retired the Chihuahua in 2000. 3 years, 3 problems, 1 very small dog. The most famous mascot of the decade that was simultaneously a racial stereotype, a $42 million lawsuit, and a marketing campaign that did not sell the product. Number 2. McDonald's Dead Dad. McDonald's, 2017. The Dead Dad commercial. And the UK television advertisement that decided the best way to sell a Filet-O-Fish sandwich was to make the audience cry about a child whose father had died. The commercial ran 90 seconds. A boy asks his mother about his dead father. What was he like? What did we have in common? Was he good at sports? No. Was he good at school? No. Did he look like me? Not really. The kid cannot find a single connection to the father he barely remembers. 90 seconds of genuine childhood grief broadcast during a commercial break between game shows. They arrive at McDonald's. The boy orders a Filet-O-Fish. The mother smiles. That was his dad's favorite. The boy smiles. Connection found through a fish sandwich at McDonald's. A dead father's legacy reduced to a $3 menu item with tartar sauce. Grief counselors condemned it. Parents who had lost partners called it exploitative. Social media went nuclear. McDonald's pulled the ad within days and released a statement saying the commercial did not land as intended. Did not land as intended. They used the dead parent to sell a fish sandwich and it did not land as intended. That is corporate speak so tone-deaf it could be its own commercial disaster. Did not land as intended is what you say when a joke falls flat at a dinner party. It is not what you say when you use childhood grief as a condiment for a fish sandwich. Multiple people at McDonald's UK approved this ad. It went through creative review, legal review, brand review, and at no single point in that chain did anyone raise their hand and say, "Are we really selling a fish sandwich with a dead dad? Is that what we are doing today?" Apparently, yes. That is what they were doing. Until the entire country told them to stop. Number 1. Pepsi Kendall Jenner. Pepsi, 2017. The Kendall Jenner protest commercial. And the single most mocked advertisement in the history of American marketing, the commercial that tried to fix police brutality, racial injustice, and systemic oppression with a can of Pepsi and a supermodel, and lasted 24 hours before the entire planet collectively agreed it was the worst thing they had ever seen. The commercial was 2.5 minutes of pure delusion. A diverse group of impossibly attractive young people marched through a city street in what appears to be a protest. But the protest has no cause, no anger, no demand. The signs say things like "join the conversation" and "peace." Nobody is upset. Nobody is sweating. Everyone's hair looks incredible. This is not a protest. This is a casting call that wandered outside. Kendall Jenner is nearby doing a photo shoot. She notices the world's most photogenic march happening outside. She removes her blonde wig. She joins the protest. She walks to the front of the line where police officers stand in formation. She hands one of them a Pepsi. He takes a sip. The crowd goes wild. Injustice over, racism solved. Pepsi saved democracy. Someone give this carbonated beverage a Nobel Prize. The implication, and Pepsi committed to this implication with their whole chest, was that the protests in Ferguson and Baltimore and every American city where communities were demanding accountability for police violence could have been resolved if someone had simply walked up with a cold soda and a good attitude. Decades of systemic inequality, generations of pain, fixed by a 22-year-old model handing a cop a Pepsi. The internet responded with the speed and precision of a military operation. Activists called it trivializing. Commentators called it the worst ad of the decade. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter posted a sarcastic tweet that went viral faster than the commercial itself. Saturday Night Live destroyed it. Twitter produced more commentary in 24 hours than most ads receive in their entire lifetime. Pepsi pulled the commercial within 1 day. 1 day. They released a statement saying they were trying to project a message of unity, peace, and understanding. Then they apologized to Kendall Jenner for putting her in a bad position. The apology went to the model, not to the communities whose real struggles had been turned into a prop for selling sugar water. The apology went to the millionaire reality TV star, not to the people who marched in real protests and faced real consequences. A can of Pepsi, a model removing a wig, a police officer smiling, the end of systemic injustice in 2.5 minutes for a soft drink company. 24 hours before it became the most famous advertising failure of the 21st century. The commercial cost millions to produce, millions more in reputation damage, and exactly 0 cans of Pepsi were sold as a result. If anything, people bought less Pepsi specifically to protest the commercial. Pepsi spent money to lose customers. That is reverse advertising. That is paying people to dislike you. That is the marketing equivalent of setting your own store on fire and calling it a grand opening. 10 fast food commercials, 10 total disasters. Burger King spent $40 million on a man named Herb that nobody could identify. Domino's created a mascot that inspired a hostage situation involving the mascot's own pizza. KFC partnered with Oprah, gave away 10 million coupons, and ran out of chicken at KFC. McDonald's made pizza, and Pizza Hut roasted them for it on national television. Rax told families to get lost and then wondered why 500 locations became 8. Quiznos traumatized a generation of children with deformed singing creatures. Carl's Jr. spent 12 years selling burgers with bikinis until even they got tired of it. Taco Bell's Chihuahua was more famous than the tacos and cost them $42 million in court. McDonald's, UK sold a fish sandwich using a dead father. And Pepsi solved police brutality with a supermodel and a soda for exactly 24 hours. Which one of these do you actually remember seeing on TV? And which one made you never eat there again? Drop it below, like the video, and subscribe.